We welcome you back to Longhorn Weekly from Plucker's West Campus location here in Austin, presented by the Texas Lottery. I'm Craig Way, joined, of course, by Longhorns head coach Steve Sarkisian. You know, time flies when you're having fun. It was 25 years ago today, or this weekend, 25 years ago this season, when Mac Brown's first Longhorn team had some landmark victories, snapping Nebraska's 47-game home winning streak and going on and winning a Cotton Bowl. They also had another milestone in that they had the second Heisman Trophy winner in school history. And he's joining us now on the hotline. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ricky Williams is joining us now. Ricky, I appreciate the time, and we're glad to have you on with Coach Sark. How are you these days?
Oh, I'm great. When you said 25 years, I was thinking 25 years ago I was sitting in my apartment ordering Pluckers. Seriously,
Ricky,
it was part of my weekly ritual during my senior football season. Every Thursday night.
Hey, Rick, Coach Sark here, man. I can you believe, like, we were playing college football 25 years ago? I mean, you're just younger than me, but, man, that seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
I cannot believe it. Nope, I can't.
What stands out to you, Ricky, about that 98 season? I mean, you'd already established yourself as one of the top running backs in the nation there as a freshman on that final Southwest Conference championship team, and then the first ever Big 12 championship season in 96. Even in the struggling season of 4-7, you had a great year, great game against Oklahoma. And then in Coach Brown's first year, 1998, he always said his number one recruit was you deciding to come back for your senior year. What goes through your mind when you think about going into that senior season of 1998?
Team. Team. It's true that football is the ultimate team sport. But for me, I knew that I led the nation rushing and scoring and didn't even get invited to the Heisman Trophy because we were 4-7. So I knew, put all my eggs in one basket coming back from my senior year, and I knew that the team had to show up.
Hey, Rick, one thing, having come in and you take over a team and, going into my first year, Bijan obviously was going into his second year, but what was it like being one of the leaders on the team, and here comes a new coach that's trying to instill his culture, his philosophy, his things. How did you, did you feel like there was – I had to do this from a leadership standpoint to change that culture, or do you look back like the 05 season and all the great run that Coach Brown goes on, that do you recognize the impact you had on kind of that culture that got built?
I did. So when I was thinking about where I wanted to go to college, I had a checklist, and number one on the list was I needed to start as a freshman, because I knew if I was redshirting or playing behind someone, I'd be lost. Okay. So I knew I had to start as a freshman. 2, I wanted to go to a program that would be on national television. And 3, like a caveat, or 2B, was that the program had to be rich tradition on the verge of greatness again, getting back on top. And I wanted to be part of that missing piece. And it didn't necessarily occur during my 4 years, even though I got the Heisman Trophy, but I know all the recruits, all the talent, all the attention that our team was able to generate really helped. And what, Mac Brown did a great job coaching, and all that really came together at the same time to help catapult Texas back on top.
Ricky Williams is with us. Ricky, of course, 4-year starter, 2 at fullback, 2 at running back, completed the UT career with 21 NCAA and 46 school records. The Texas Athletics Hall of Honor in 2010, Texas Sports Hall of Fame in 2012, College Football Hall of Fame in 2015, Cotton Bowl Hall of Fame in 2018, San Diego Hall of Fame as well, and Texas X's Distinguished Alumnus, where you'll be honored on Friday night and then again at Saturday. What does that mean to you, Ricky, the fact that your university wants you to come back to honor you as a Distinguished Alumnus this weekend?
Well, it means a lot. I mean, it means that I graduated, and if I'm being honest, when I came to Texas, I said what I was supposed to say. Even when I gave my speech about coming back for my senior year, I talked about graduating. But I was far away from graduating, and so after I retired from the Ravens, my mom kept bugging me go back to school, and kind of sounded like a good idea. And so I went into Eric Ojeda's office and I said, how many hours do I need to finish? And he said like 70. And I started doing the math and I was like, goodness gracious. But I committed to it, and you know what? I loved every minute of it. I didn't realize how much of a student I was, and I didn't realize how much of a wonderful opportunity it is to attend a university where you have access to so many brilliant minds. So, I look at the things that I'm doing right now that give me fulfillment, and it's 99% based off the things I learned when I went back to school to get my degree. So I think it's a wonderful story, and it makes me so grateful that I chose to attend the University of Texas, not just for the football, but for the educational stuff, even though it took me a while to appreciate it.
Ricky Williams is our special guest. Rick, I'm going to ask you to hold on the line for a moment. When we come back, I want to ask you about your path beyond football now and your life's work and all the many roles that you have. So hang with us, Ricky. Ricky Williams with us, and we'll continue with Longhorn Weekly with Coach Sark from Pluckers, the West Campus location here in Austin, and presented by the Texas Lottery when we continue in a moment. Snap back to Murphy. Slant over the middle. Caught by Mitchell. 80 to the end zone. Touchdown, Texas. Combination worked for a second time today. Malik Murphy to Adonai Mitchell. And it's a 13-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, he's kind of getting to the point where it's all he does is catch touchdowns. And, boy, what a dart that Malik Murphy threw to Mitchell.
We welcome you back to Longhorn Weekly with Coach Sark from here at Pluckers, the West Campus location, presented by the Texas Lottery. You were talking about Malik Murphy's throws. I mean, that slant to AD, that was a rocket right to him.
It really was. And the hands that AD has are pretty impressive. Both touchdown catches, that was a rocket to catch. And then the other one, the deep ball 50-50 he's got a knack for making those tough plays, especially down around the end zone.
Ricky Williams is on the line with us, our special guest. And in addition to the fact that he was a Heisman Trophy winner at Texas and spent all the years in the NFL, 11 NFL seasons with the Saints, the Dolphins, and the Ravens. In addition to that, Ricky, I remember when you were playing baseball, you were an 8th-round draft choice of the Phillies out of high school, and then you played minor league ball for a time at college, which was part of the reason why you had a little more work to do to finish the degree. But what was that like for you as a competitor? Minor league baseball in a professional baseball organization, and then transitioning into the football season.
It was great because I got to miss the grueling summer workouts. Man,
That's
like,
right.
I heard the guys tell stories, and I was like, no, thank you. And also, I would put on about 10, 15 pounds in the spring, and so I'd come back from baseball like down 20 pounds and really fast and explosive. So it really worked out, and it kept me in that state of a kid, because when I was a kid, right, you just go to the next season, and I got to keep that change. And also, I had so much more success on the football field than I did on the baseball diamond that it was a very humbling experience every summer.
Hey, so Ricky, I was not as good of a baseball player as you, but I do appreciate the guys that do two sports still today, and I think it's getting lost a little. That we try to find the guys that are multi-sport athletes in recruiting them because it speaks to your competitiveness, right? It speaks to your kind of sport IQ, right? To be able to do both sports at such a high level like you did. They just don't make them like you anymore, man, where guys are doing both like that. So I commend you for that. Hey, I want to switch gears to your NFL career. You played for a couple guys that obviously had a huge impact on me. The first guy I want to touch on is Norv Turner. And, Norv really impacted my career. I worked for him for a year when he was the head coach for the Oakland Raiders. And a lot of our play-action pass game really derives from Norv's system. But I also know about Norv's system, the running back is the bell cow. And you better be able to run downhill, and you better be able to run the power play, the counter play, and the stretch play. If not, that offense doesn't work very well. But how was your relationship with Norv in your time?
This makes a lot of sense. The thing I harp on about football these days is there's no masters anymore, or not very many, that know how to scheme a run game. And so, and Norv's been around great running backs, Eric Dickerson, Danian Tomlinson. And so with me, it's like it took us a little while, but pretty quickly Norv figured out what I did well. And we'd run the belly lead, and then we started running scissors, and teams had no idea what we were doing. And he might call that play 15 times in a game, and it just gave me the ability to choose whatever hole I wanted to run. And then we got the counter going, and he knew. I had back-to-back 200-yard games. And, I was doing the work, but Norv saw what I did, and he schemed it up, put me in positions to do what I did. So I love Norv. But my favorite offensive coordinator by far ever.
He spoke highly. The other guy who speaks really, really highly of you was Nick Saban. He always referenced you were his favorite player in the NFL. And I wonder what that was like, being an offensive player for Nick Saban in the NFL. What was that like?
My relationship with Nick, and I'll say he was my favorite head coach, because Nick had this way of asking you to do something that you just said yes, and you're like, why did I say yes to doing that? So when Nick first came, I was suspended for the first 4 games of the year. So I played through the preseason, and then it was right before the first week of the regular season, and he called me in his office, and he's like, hey, I was thinking, since you're not going to be playing for 4 weeks, you probably should find a way to practice every day. And I was like, yeah. He's like, so every day after the guys go off the field, the hottest part of the day, you should go out there, and we should go send a trainer out there with you to do practice by yourself. And I was like, okay. And, it was tough and it was hot, but it got me in really good shape, and I had a really good year. So I love Nick because he'll push you, but he's always seeking greatness, and I think the way I responded to it, he really appreciated that, and I think that's why we like each other so much.
Ricky, you, since ending your football career, I guess the ways to describe you: entrepreneur, businessman, spokesman, public speaker, podcaster. You've been an analyst at LHN. You were an assistant football coach at Incarnate Word. What has appealed to you about all of these things? And is that the Ricky Williams that we should know going forward, that life is always going to be open to you to experience new and different things and different ideas?
Yeah, I had opportunities, and for me, the way I live my life is I want to experience as much as possible. That's how you truly know, what's going to work. And I had ideas that I wanted to get into coaching, and so I said I'm going to take, I go all in, because if you go all in, then you know if it's for you or not. And so I coached, and I loved it. And the backs that I coached, they broke records. So I proved to myself that I had the ability to, in some way, convey whatever I learned coaching myself to these kids, And I had these fantasies of becoming a head coach, and that's what actually sent me back to school, because I needed to get my degree if I wanted to coach at the collegiate level. And then I fell in love with school and kind of went in a different direction. But that's just me. Something catches my attention, and it catches my attention. I go all into it and figure out, is this for me or not?
Well, it certainly has served you well throughout your time. Congratulations on being named a Distinguished Alumnus. We look forward to seeing you here on Friday and then again on the field on Saturday. It's always great to visit with you, Ricky. We appreciate you taking the time with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was great to go down memory lane a little bit.
Ricky, can't wait to see you Saturday, man. I know the team's going to be fired up to see you, man. Hook 'em, buddy.
Yeah, great job, Sark. Seriously, I love it. I love what you're doing.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. That's Ricky Williams joining us here. When we come back, we'll take a look at this week's opponent. The Kansas State Wildcats with Longhorn Weekly continues on the Longhorn Network and the Longhorn Radio Network from Learfield.